Well, welcome to Chapter 1 of the Iata Cargo virtual team event for 2009. Tough Times calls for innovation, and replacing our annual event with this form of communication is going to save Iata over $300,000 in much needed cost savings. So let me take the opportunity here to first thank our task team of Lucy Gladbach, René Portal, Carlos Molina, Christian Gessner, Brendan Sullivan, Renata Reckman, and their able coach Ricardo Leymarker in making this new style of communication possible. Well, as you know, our industry is in tough times. Worldwide, recession has led to a fundamental shift in consumer buying across many segments, and this in turn has led to a collapse in world trade. The December 2008 IATA traffic results shows that air freight FTKs have plummeted to minus 22.6% versus last year. This drop is truly unprecedented. In the last 30 years, we have not seen anything like this. Even following 9/11, air freight FTKs dropped by 13.9% before recovering. And we all need to understand that the fall-off is currently expected to continue well into this year. The passenger industry is watching closely, as air freight is a lead indicator for premium business travel, the key to the profitability of IATA members. The collapse is not only in volume. With excess capacity, there's also a major yield collapse, which is going to continue well into 2009. So what are we to do for an industry whose companies are experiencing such crisis? Well, first let's remind ourselves of the lesson of how great companies act in such crises. There are many stories that tell us that with great companies in a crisis, leaders unite around the compelling cause of company survival and the survival of people's jobs. To battle the crisis, they learn that cash flow becomes the king. Cost saving becomes a short-term imperative. But such companies also see the crisis as the best possible opportunity to build their future. Transformation becomes the unique opportunity, and concepts dreamed of over many years can suddenly become practical realities within months. Finally, such companies are able to battle the crisis and build the future despite a reduction in their resource. To sum it up, great companies acting in a crisis deliver more with less. Here's just a few who have succeeded in battling the crisis and building the future. IBM under Louis Gerstner. IBM cut costs, reduced their dependence on the hardware business, and built up services to exploit the internet wave. Tesco, they shifted from pile 'em high, sell 'em cheap, not only cutting costs, but also building the future in giving best customer value at the low end of the market. Apple, well, they transformed themselves from being a niche computer maker for a loyal, tiny following into the world-beating consumer brand, bigger than Intel or IBM. Nearer to home, Swiss, well, they moved from bankruptcy to be the most profitable segment of the Lufthansa group. And LAN, well, they adopted a clear management focus on transport within South America and between the Americas, and are now renowned for innovation and profitability. Malaysian, they turned themselves around from what was their biggest ever loss to record profits on the road to their next transformation to be the world's 5-star value carrier. Well, these are great inspirational companies, but for IATA we have an additional challenge. The above stories which I shared with you are all about successful turnarounds within the company. IATA's story of turnaround has to be different, as we're a trade association representing, leading and serving an industry in crisis. So our story has to be one of both internal and external change. So what are IATA cargo priorities for industry turnaround? Well, for all our priorities, the common theme is that despite our now having less IATA resource, we must deliver more. Indeed, exceeding expectations is critical to IATA cargo staying credible and relevant to the air cargo supply chain as a whole. Now, in the face of an economy going down the toilet, our IATA cargo industry priorities focus on, first, battling the crisis by protecting cash flow, and secondly, reducing cost in the short term. Second, our IATA industry priorities also focus on building the future by transformation of the industry via driving standards, compliance, and adoption for e-freight and secure freight. Well, let me now highlight each of these IATA cargo industry targets for 2009. Well, first, to battle the crisis, we have to protect and manage the cash the industry trusts us to manage on their behalf. The imperative is to protect the $23 billion of industry money that flows through our CAS systems worldwide. And this is despite the current wobble being experienced by banks and financial institutions. We can be truly proud of the long-standing quality and integrity of CAS. And the industry has come to rely upon CAS with a default ratio for CAS of less than 1 in 10,000. But we must keep things with CAS that way. And in particular, with focus on a rigorous compliance to the resolutions that have been set. Protecting the money, staying within the rules, is truly the core business of IATA Cargo and is the responsibility of all of us in the IATA Cargo team worldwide. To battle the crisis, IATA, as well as the industry, needs cash to fund the $30 million of industry projects that IATA is funding, but also to pay the likes of you and me. Well, IATA Cargo can feel proud. We got rid of the so-called core and commercial divide a long time ago, and we formed one IATA Cargo team. And in 2008, we were the only market segment beating both revenue and result targets. In fact, in 2008, we beat our revenue budget by 3% and our result budgets by 11%. Today, 1/3 of IATA's commercial result comes from cargo. But IATA cash flow remains a major issue for our projects and our jobs. So this is why we have to secure $41 million of revenue and $27 million of result in 2009. Well, you are the IATA Cargo sales force, so you need to go forth and sell and protect our cash flow. Okay, let's turn to what we can do for industry cost savings. Our central theme has to be CAS, and we aim to pass on 15% of unit charge reductions to CAS participants in 2009. And given the serious fall-off in demand in the industry that we're seeing, this is going to be a tall order for the IATA Cargo team. So you're going to need to push the adoption of existing CAS much more aggressively than you've ever done before. This is an area, region by region, I will personally be monitoring closely. For example, with our CNS team, I expect a major push on maximizing the adoption of CAS USA Domestics, which has the potential to be the biggest CAS in the world by volume of transactions. Sticking with CAS, we must continue introducing new operations. And in particular, our goal in 2009 is 10 new CAS operations, including the 6 major markets of export, that's Israel, India and Pakistan, domestics, that's Mexico, imports, that's Canada and Australia. So what are our priorities for building the future for the air cargo industry? Well, we have 2 main priorities. The first is, of course, our flagship project, eFreight. And in 2008, we secured the product manifested in our eFreight handbook. We also exceeded our 2008 target for new eFreight locations. We delivered 12 new eFreight locations. So I want to thank all of you for your superb worldwide team effort in bringing eFreight capability to what is now a total of 18 locations. In 2009, our eFreight priorities are 14 new airports in existing locations, as well as 5 new locations. Also, for 2009, our eFreight priority is to lobby 29 countries, 4 new locations, and 2 new airports for 2010. Thirdly, to measure, track, and promote eFreight penetration. And this is the key to realizing eFreight benefits of $4.9 billion for the industry. Our second overall priority is that of secure freight. And here our vision is of a secure supply chain consisting of secure operators recognized by governments and regulatory bodies. In 2008, we were successful in gaining industry agreement for the secure freight vision and roadmap. Our priority for 2009 is to build the first version of a secure freight quality assurance system for the supply chain with a voluntary audit in 1 location. So those are our priorities. But let me end by stressing those things which must go right for Iata Cargo if we are to succeed as a team in 2009. And in fact, there are 6 critical themes for us all. Number 1, the customer. Number 2, our cash. Number 3, cost. Number 4, quality. Number 5, the Insight project. And number 6, people. First, we must build a strong reputation for being the source of standards for the total cargo supply chain. Well, what does this mean in practice? It means we must learn how to engage effectively beyond the carrier to the shipper and the forwarder. In fact, we must learn their language, not the Iata language, their priorities and their values. In particular, we must deeply understand the priority needs of the end customer of the supply chain and act upon them. Well, based on our latest annual survey of the customer, this time of 85 shippers, the priorities are clear. In fact, 81% of customers of the supply chain put speed of the supply chain in their top 3 criteria for choosing the mode of the supply chain. 69% of customers put cost or price in their top 3 criteria. And 41% of customers put reliability and damage-free goods in their top 3 criteria. We must show the shipper we are relevant to setting standards for meeting all these needs. Second, like all Iata functions, we must deliver the Iata Cargo agenda at a lower cost. Consistent with the whole of Iata, on average, we must reduce our overall cost base by at least 6%. To do more with less is going to be very tough, but we must. We will be forced to simplify the business of Iata, and this has to be a good thing. Third, it's critical we protect our lifeblood of cash flow, which is our Iata commercial income. The only green line in the financial results for Iata is actually our commercial result. All the other results make a loss. So Iata commercial income is the center of our cash flow. Fourth, if we are to do more with less, we must do this by implementing quality processes within Iata Cargo, which are based on 1. Clear objectives, 2. A scorecard to track achievement of targets, 3. Standard operating procedures to ensure a quality process, and 4th, regular reviews. We will implement this discipline this year for how we introduce new CAS operations in the field. Fifth, we must play an active role in supporting and influencing the Iata project, which is called Insight. Insight is going to be an integral part of managing the business of Iata Cargo. Finally, what must go right is that we must free each of you to excel in this challenging environment. Iata Cargo is a people business, and our demanding targets will only be delivered by each of you excelling. So I wish you all every success in what is going to be the most challenging year for Iata Cargo in delivering its targets. But I know that working with you, we will succeed. Thank you.